Just giving it a couple of minutes too, because we did say we would start at 4, so we still have 1 more minute before the 4 o'clock kicks in.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you are listening to is a media availability because the city of Fort St. John is currently under an evacuation alert. One more time, that is an alert, not an order. What we know right now is the wildfire, the Stoddard Creek wildfire, has increased significantly in size. We are not sure why the alert has been issued now. This is why we're going to bring you this media availability live. Since this morning, this fire has grown from just over 6,000 hectares to over 13,000 hectares. There are further reports, but we're going back to the media availability live.
It's 4 o'clock on the nose, so let's get started. Hannah, would you mind if we start with you? And do you have a presentation, or are you just planning to? Are you showing slides or just speaking?
I don't have a slides. I'll just be speaking today. I figured with the media brief, probably best for them to capture just voice and video.
That's perfect. Thank you.
All right.
Go ahead. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for organizing this, Therese. I appreciate it. So I'll just provide a bit of a situational update on the most active and concerning fires that we have in the area in the Peace region right now. So that's the Stoddard Creek wildfire and the Red Creek wildfire. But I'll just start with a little bit of an overview of what we have on site. We are managing these two wildfires as a complex. In addition, we have 2 other wildfires that are not as much of a concern currently. So I'm going to focus on those 2. So currently we have just shy of 300 personnel on site managing these 4 incidents. Majority of those personnel are working on the Stoddard Creek wildfire and the Red Creek wildfire. We have 70 structure protection personnel. We are going to have personnel remaining on site through the evening tonight. We had 20 on shift last night, and over the coming days, we are looking to bolster our structure protection specialists and personnel on site. We currently have 23 helicopters assigned to these incidents. Majority over the last 48 hours have been focused on the Stoddard Creek wildfire. However, as many of you can see, if you're in the area, there's heavy smoke coming into the region. So helicopters will be grounding shortly, as they will be unable to work in the heavy smoke and low visibility. Currently, we have the incident management team here on site working from Fort St. John. We also have support personnel in place. So that's around 40 personnel in total working to support and manage the firefighters on the ground, as well as the structure protection units and the heavy equipment. We have 23 pieces of heavy equipment working on the fire, much of them assigned to the Stoddard Creek wildfire. And in total, there's around 160 wildland firefighters out on the fires right now. Those numbers that I gave you, those are fluid and those are always changing. We are having more resources incoming daily, hourly. So it's a fluid situation and it's constantly changing. So those numbers are likely to increase. We do have a unit crew, so 20 pack of additional firefighters arriving this afternoon into the evening, and they will likely be assigned to the Stoddard Creek wildfire, and they will work through the night with those structure protection personnel to continue to bolster efforts on properties adjacent to the Stoddard Creek wildfire. And that's in addition to the 15 wildfire fighters that have been working the Stoddard Creek wildfire the previous 2 nights as well. So the big thing we're looking at today, and a big heads up, is we're having a cold, dry front move into the area. So it's been tracking from Fort Nelson and moving south towards Fort St. John. And with this dry cold front, we're seeing a wind shift from what we've been seeing in the past week, which has been southwesterly winds, to northerly winds. So we're seeing winds from the north, which is going to push the fires to the south. We haven't had winds from the north since we've been here, so this is a change for us. Objectives on site today were focused on the south flanks of the fire to try to get our firefighters in there and do as much work as possible until we see this wind shift. So what we're seeing is a 180-degree wind shift. Winds from the north, they're going to be sustained 25 to 40 kilometers per hour, and we're looking at gusts upwards of 60 kilometers an hour. So this is a huge heads up for us. It's going to bring an enormous amount of smoke to the area, all the way down to Prince George, likely. So visibility is going to be very challenging. And with that wind and the growth that we're projecting, we're likely going to be unable to keep our crews on the wildfires. We're going to have to remove them because it won't be safe for them to work adjacent to these fires. And what we're seeing really is a combination of the extreme high temperatures for this time of the year, really low relative humidities, and those two crossing very early in the day. So we're seeing high temperatures, low humidities as early as 10 a.m. in the morning. And so that peak burning window is really long given the long days today. In combination with that, we're seeing severe drought conditions. I know for most of you in the region, you're all aware that in October, we were seeing wildfires still burning quite actively well into the end of October in this region. And then we went directly into winter. And now coming out of winter, we're going directly into summer-like conditions. So there's been no reprieve for the fuels on the ground. So the fire has a lot to consume. Another factor that's contributing to the growth and the aggressive fire behavior that we're seeing is that there was a windstorm here in 2016, is my understanding. So there's a lot of blowdown throughout the forest here. And so that gives the fire more fuel to climb through. We call those ladder fuels. So there's a lot of factors here contributing to the growth, but the main thing today is going to be those high winds that we're seeing. I've been getting updates from operations hourly, every half an hour. The latest update that I have is that we do have fire on either side of Highway 97 at this point, and so the road is closed due to the smoke. So that is the latest update. The road has been closed. Prior to that, we had one-way alternating traffic. It's now been closed down. And again, that's for smoke purposes at this point. And hopefully that's a short duration. Once it clears enough, we will get that road back up as soon as possible. That's the biggest update I can provide right now, is really those weather conditions. We did have our fire behavior specialist forecast kind of growth projections. And so given the fuel type, the conditions, the hot, the dry, the winds, we are forecasting those fires to grow to the south. So a big heads up on that for our crews on the ground. And of course, we've been working closely with our partners to recommend any sort of alerts and orders that may be required to ensure the safety of everyone within the vicinity of these wildfires. And I guess I'll go into a little bit more specifics on each wildfire now. So the Stoddart Creek, the latest estimate I had, which was around noon, was 13,000 hectares. It is likely much larger than that now. I would hazard a guess of upwards of 18,000 hectares. Again, like I said, growing quite rapidly with the winds in the region. So we do have firefighters out there right now working, but with the winds that we're seeing, we may need to pull them off the line and back to safety to those staging areas. It won't be safe to keep them adjacent to those fires, just given the activity that we're expecting with these winds. And then moving to the Red Creek wildfire, that one is currently still mapped at 2,947 hectares. I've had no reports of growth on that fire recently, but it is likely that the winds that we're seeing is going to challenge the containment lines to the south. So that's a big heads up there. But over the past 24 hours, it has been holding at that size. So it's still just mapped under 3,000 hectares. But again, that could change with these winds that we're about to see. And then one last piece with these wildfires and our structure protection specialists, they've been working predominantly just southeast of the Stoddart Creek wildfire in any of those properties and farms just in that area south there. We do have a rancher liaison working with us. He's been out in the field encouraging disking of fields. The goal really is to remove as much fuel as possible that may be in the fire's path. So yeah, working closely with our partners and just keeping a heads up for when those winds really come down and impact our fires. And I'll pass it back to you, Therese.
We are still live here at the media availability. We will get back to them as soon as they continue.
For Hannah? You could use the raise hand. It'll be easier because there's a lot of people on here, and the raise hand will pop you up at the screen. Jordan, you want to go ahead?
Yes. Hi there. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us today. Hannah, I'm not sure if you can answer this question or if this is more for the EOC. Our concern here mostly at this time is just where Fort St. John residents are supposed to go if we do get placed on evacuation order, because judging by what you just said, it looks like we're headed in that direction. So that's one of my questions.
Yeah, thanks for the question, Jordan. So the evacuation alert that we recommended to Fort St. John was a precautionary measure that we're taking. We don't make these decisions lightly. We have been working with our forecasters and our fire behavior specialists to forecast growth projections, and the worst case scenario does not impact the city at this time. So again, it's just with the winds, we want people to prepare, be aware, be ready to leave at a moment's notice should that change. As far as where they are expected to evacuate, that's a question for emergency management and climate readiness. So likely you can connect with them offline. Thanks.
I'm just checking if Ryan is on the call first. In case, yeah, I see Ryan. Is there anything that you wanted to add there, Ryan?
Absolutely. Thanks, Jordan, for the question. And thanks, Hannah, for your update as well. Obviously, that's part of the reason why we've opened our Emergency Operations Center, is to prepare for these situations. So obviously the alert is the opportunity for people to provide notice for people to be ready at a moment's notice to leave. As Hannah has said, the City of Fort St. John continues not to be under threat. This is a precautionary measure. I know that the Peace River Regional District has issued an order, and they are currently requesting people that haven't already been registered are off to Dawson Creek. And so that's part of the work that our EOC is doing now, is in the event of that, where would our evacuation paths be? Obviously recognizing that Alberta is also under a challenging wildfire situation. And so there might not be as many options as there traditionally are further to our east. And so that's the work that's undergoing right now.
Thanks, Ryan. Akshay, is that the right pronunciation?
Yes, that is. Thank you so much. I had a question for, I guess, Hannah, as well as, just generally, but I know this might seem like a very silly question, but if the fires, if the winds are blowing north, how would that impact the fires moving south? I know that sounds very silly, but I apologize, but I just wanted to get that cleared up.
Yeah, no worries. I can take that one. So we're seeing winds coming from the northern direction. So they're coming to the north and pushing the fire to the south.
Right. Sorry, I thought it was the other way. Got it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no worries.
Yes. Okay, thank you. Grady?
Hi guys, thank you for your time today. I was just wondering, in the event of an evacuation order for Fort St. John, what would happen to the evacuation center?
Thanks, Grady, for the question. So currently, for anybody that is evacuated already and is registered with the reception center in Fort St. John at the North Peace Arena, we are able to continue to provide services for those individuals. Because the City of Fort St. John has now gone onto an evacuation alert, we're unable to have a reception center in an alert zone. And so that's why it's moved to Dawson Creek and Mercer Hall, which the regional district would be able to talk about more. And that's part of the work that is being done here at the Fort St. John EOC to prepare in the worst case scenarios.
Okay, thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions for Hannah about wildfire? Because we will get you some briefings from the various communities that are managing the evacuations and orders and alerts. Okay, just checking. I don't think there's anybody calling in. And I see none in the chat. All right, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift to our EOC director here, Mike, who for the PRRD can give you an update on our orders and alerts. Just going to be a minute here because I'm going to need to switch off my sound so that we hopefully don't have a lot of feedback. So just one moment.
If you're just joining us, we are in the
Hi,
middle of
everyone.
a
My
media
name is Mike
briefing
Watkins, and
about
I'm
the evacuation alert for Fort St. John and surrounding areas.
Regional District located here in Dawson Creek. Where to start? We have a lot to talk about today. The Peace River Regional District has been issuing evacuation orders and alerts for a number of wildfires. The Stoddard Creek wildfire is our most recent, but it's become the one that's most challenging and the most threatening to various communities, farms, and businesses in the area. Today, we have issued a new evacuation order that encompasses the area formerly defined as the Red Creek Fire and the Stoddard Creek Fire. For our purposes, managing evacuation risk and directing search and rescue personnel, it made more sense for us to create one order that covers the whole area, and you can find that up on our website now. So we're calling that evacuation order number 2, and it covers both the Red Creek and Stoddard Creek wildfires. Currently, right now, in the zone are search and rescue personnel and RCMP that are doing on-site notifications where it's safe to do so. We're also able to assist those in the area that have mobility or other transportation challenges. And we have staged near the area a BC Transit bus that will help them get to the next part of their journey. The next part of their journey for anybody in an evacuation order, it's important that the public recognize that the order means they must leave the area immediately. And of particular note, anybody that is age 19 or younger than 19 years of age must leave by legislation and for safety. What's next for them? Travel to a safe place outside of the order area. Now, the easiest thing for an individual or family to do when they've been ordered to leave an area is to travel somewhere where they know somebody. So staying with family or friends is usually a first option for many. However, if they don't know anybody in the area, they don't have any resources available for them for lodging, what we can provide them through the services of the Dawson Creek Emergency Support Services Group is lodging in Dawson Creek, as well as food and other support services. I'm sure the community of Dawson Creek will speak to that a little bit later on in this presentation. I'd like to note that we are also supporting currently evacuees from the Red Creek area and the Stoddard Creek area, as well as Boundary Lake area in Fort St. John. Those services will continue for those evacuated residents. We're not able to take in any new people into the Fort St. John area because it has gone on alert and hotel accommodation in the area is pretty much maxed out. So it's a bit of an inconvenience, but Dawson Creek has a good supply of available hotel rooms. The advanced planning units in our EOC, the provincial EOC, and Dawson Creek ESS in particular have been looking out several days to make sure that we're able to accommodate everybody. I can give you a number for the Dawson Creek Reception Center and the location. That will be at Mercer Hall in Dawson Creek, which is also known as the Oventive or Encana Events Center. And it's at 300 Highway 2, Dawson Creek. You can also call them at 250-784-4681 after hours. One of the most common things that comes up in a big evacuation is how do I get information? All the communities will be publishing information on their websites, and we certainly will be doing that constantly. Our EOC is activated now 24/7 until we get through this next challenging period. And we have a telephone number you can reach us at in the event that you're not getting answers to support elsewhere, and that's 250-219-5210. There's also an emergency information email address I can share with you. It's emergency-info@prrd.bc.ca. Again, that's emergency-info@prrd.bc.ca. prrd.bc.ca. And like I said before, all our communications will be up on our website, on Facebook, and Twitter. And we'll make sure that it's easy to find this information going forward. I think that's all I have for you right now. If there's questions, I'm happy to take them.
Akshay?
Hey, I had a question regarding just the number of properties that are currently on evac order. Do you have that number?
There's more than 1,000 civic addresses in that area. Due to the nature of the kinds of properties, there's farms, there's often owners who have more than one civic address. I can't really extrapolate that and tell you how many people are impacted.
Thank you.
Jordan.
Thank you. I just have two kind of quick questions for you. My first question is, what about air traffic coming in and out of the Fort St. John Airport or the North Peace Regional Airport?
I'm not personally aware of any issues at the moment, but it has been a factor in other wildfire emergencies in British Columbia. If and when that should happen, I imagine we'll be using Grand Prairie and other airports. We'll just have to all stay in touch and follow the news and each of our respective websites.
Okay, thank you. And secondly, I was just curious about, Highway 97 is closed between Wanawon and I'm not exactly sure where off the top of my head, but I'm just wondering, a lot of people work in Wanawon and in that area and live here in Fort St. John, but the highway is closed. What about those people who need to get home to their families?
Yeah, it's an evolving situation. Things are moving very rapidly. I don't believe we have the Ministry of Transportation and Industry on the call, but we'll try to hook you up and get you further information on that. It truly is changing minute by minute right now, and we will keep everybody in the loop and also publish those findings on our website.
Thank you.
Are there other questions at the PRRD at this time? I wanted to flag, I put the emergency info email and phone up for the PRRD, and I see that Hannah has also provided some information around contacting her and for updates that the BC Wildfire will be posting. Okay, I don't see any further questions. So Hannah has to leave. She's got to run, and there's a lot going on right now. So I would now ask Ryan, are you ready that you can maybe provide a bit more of an update for Fort St. John?
Absolutely. Thanks. Thanks for setting this up. So
You're still muted.
Oh, I think I'm unmuted now. Sorry about that.
No sound yet for some reason. Can't hear you, Ryan.
Can you hear me now?
We can
hear you, Ryan. I can hear you. We can hear you.
Okay, still able to hear me?
Yeah, okay, you're good. You're good.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, so thanks. Sorry about that. Thanks, Therese, for setting this up. As most of you on the call know, the City of Fort St. John has obviously issued an evacuation alert for all properties within the City of Fort St. John. Obviously, that was in consultation with the BC Wildfire Service, and similarly matches what the Peace River Regional District has done on their alert. Obviously, this alert right now is primarily out of an abundance of caution to ensure that people are prepared if required to leave at a moment's notice. So this is an opportunity for you to make sure that you have your clothing packed, any necessary medication or paperwork, pet supplies, and an opportunity for all of that to be ready to go if needed. Obviously, right now we're continuing in the planning of what would happen in that event, where people would go. And so that work is happening right now. There's no definitive answer on that as of yet. We obviously continue to support our neighbors. So we know that we are hosting several evacuees through our emergency support services, but we're also assisting in the wildfire response where we are able. And so we continue to do that. As Mike shared earlier, the ESS reception center at the North Peace Arena is open and providing support for those evacuees that have already registered in the city. If you haven't registered yet, you'll have to follow the directions of the Peace River Regional District, that is to evacuate and register at the reception center at Mercer Hall in Dawson Creek. Because we are now under an evacuation alert, we're unable to take additional evacuees from the order. Of course, this is a rapidly evolving situation. We've opened our EOC, our Emergency Operations Center, and you can continue to follow along with updates on our website at fortstjohn.ca or on our Facebook page, the City of Fort St. John.
Okay, are there any questions for Ryan? I'm not seeing any. All right. Do we have a representative from Doig First Nation on the call?
Yeah, you do. It's Shona Nelson.
Thank you, Shona. Do you want to give an update?
Sure. Good afternoon. Doig River has activated its EOC level 2 just recently, and we've also just issued a evacuation order for the Doig River community. And it is, the community is not in imminent danger, safety precautions. So we are evacuating everybody to the evacuation point at Mercer Hall number 1, same as City of Fort St. John. And we are just, our staff are out there letting members know, and for the people that are in the Peterson's Crossing area as well. So they will be getting them as well. And if our members do need support with transportation, we do have the community bus available to pick them up and to bring them to the emergency services as well. But it's precautionary, and we're consistent with the Peace River Regional District. And yeah, we appreciate the support that we've been receiving from our neighbors, and connecting and communicating with everyone via the Facebook page and our web page.
Great. Does anybody have any questions for Shona? Okay, just wanted to check. Is there someone from the District of Taylor who was able to join us? Okay, I'm not seeing any. Does anyone have any questions for any of these representatives from the various local governments that are on this call that we haven't covered, information that you're looking for? I can share with you that the evacuation order for the Peace River Regional District, the 2 areas of Red Creek and Sutter Creek, that is posted on the website, and we're working on getting the alert up as well. And we will be continuing to post information also through Facebook if you're looking for updates. All right. I'm not seeing any further questions, so I think we're going to wrap this up. Yeah, if they, oh, sorry. So what we'll do is, if the various communities, if you guys could stay on, we'll just do a quick touch base on what's happening next, and we'll let all the media go first. So if there's no further questions, we're going to wrap this up, and we'll be sending out information as it comes available.
That, once again, was all the information that we have concerning the evacuation alert in Fort St. John. We will be right back with some summaries after this.
Buy, lease, or rent a certified vehicle from Driving Force. Short or long term, business or pleasure. Driving Force